Hey everyone, welcome back. You are the gateway into comics. I've been waiting to do this for a little while. I finally have the time. Um, Out of all the things about this book, I think one of my least favorite things is the cover. Really, really, it's the cover. Just a little bit before I review this book, Ewing, she is the writer. As I mentioned before in a previous video, and I'll just leave the link below. Um, she was hired with no merit as far as comics are concerned because she's never done comics, and this book is actually good. And there's some things I really didn't like about it, but it's still good. It's still good, and the whole thing about her was a bunch of people on Twitter were like, "Why don't you hire this person?" Because she looks exactly like, hairstyle and all. I think her sexual orientation's the same. I don't know that for a fact. Uh, but it's super interesting that they're just casting these writers now. Now, here's the thing: this book was pretty good. But I really think, like I said before, the only thing that should really matter in any industry is merit, right? So if she wanted to make comics, hey, she could have been making comics, because that's the advice. If you want to make comics, just do it. So I really hope she actually wants to make comics, this writer, because like I've said before, I want to like this book. I like this first book. I want to like the rest of it. So I'm actually going to follow the series, I think. I don't know. I don't even know if she's a denouncer of, the movement that we are a part of here. But, if she if she is a denouncer, I'm still not going to burn this today. It is what it is. So, I'll just step right in. Of course, a very brief intro. I read that in another video here, kind of talking a little bit about this book previously. So first thing out of the gate, she starts talking about this Maya Angelou poem, and it's called "Still I Rise." And I was like, okay, what does this mean? Usually when you reference another like anything literary, a poem or something, another book, generally it's going to have a similar theme as that book, for one, or the line is going to be a part of the theme. Okay, and so originally the theme of this poem is the writer talking to the people who oppressed her. The people who oppressed slaves in the past, and that had nothing to do with this book. That had nothing to do with this book. So I'll get to that at the very end. It actually, in my opinion, does have some significance because of the ending of this book, and I'll get to it. And it's one of those reasons I think that this book's good. So once again, I did not enjoy this exposition. It's written like a young adult novel, and this is a comic book. But at the same time, some foreshadowing was dropped here, talking about, hint, hint, her best friend Natalie being killed. I think her name is Natalie. Yes, and it goes on. This is the scene I did not like at all. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages to this scene. Let's just say 4 for the sake of this being, it's not a different scene at all, but we'll just pretend it is. So there's 4 pages that could have been 2 or 3 pages. And once again, this panel right here, the one right in the middle, I counted those words, 65, 65 words. Could have probably been said in 15 words. Again, she doesn't really talk like a normal person. She definitely talks like a kid, like a teenager, but once again, that's and maybe that's purpose. Hey, it could be on purpose, having her be brilliant and talk like a child who is just weird. But regardless, this is a tender moment, and it was really good, and it shows that she's alone, right? They're like, talking to yourself, kid. They ask, hey, don't forget to go outside every once in a while, like take a break, you know. And they wanted to invite her out. And they say, well, we tried. We worried about her. It's not good to be so alone. And see, right there, you know, showing that she's alone is cool. I mean, she's a superhero. That's one of those prevalent things. It's important to show that. We can all kind of relate to that in a sense, because everybody technically is alone. So that's great. We find out there's a hostage situation. She goes straight to it. She's like, I gotta eat after I'm done with this. And she finds a way in. She sneaks a way in. Again, good cool stuff here. I actually really enjoyed this. Some of the dialogue I really don't like in this book, but that is okay. Some of it's really good. Some of it's long-winded. I'm gonna skip through probably one of the coolest parts in this book, because once again, I don't want to give all that away. I want to talk about some other things. I don't want to focus on that. So what you're missing here is about 4 pages of a really cool fight. And I'm just going to skip through it, and I hope that's cool. But we're going to get to this part that matters to the story and what makes this a good story. Right here, the villain is being carted off after she wins the fight, and he says it. It's a little on the nose, guys, but that's okay. He says it aloud. He says, you and I are the same in so many ways. Maybe you can't see it today, but it's true. I only hope that someone with your talents doesn't let people just throw you away like they did me. Huh. Okay, and then he hands her something. Oh, is that a Nazi symbol on there? No, of course that's not a Nazi symbol on there. But that's what denouncers would say about us, of course. He gives her something that's probably going to mean something. This could be the ultimate boon. And what's fascinating about this is the main character gives that to him. Again, I talked about some of these literary components in my last previous videos. Most of my videos, of course, are about writing comics and about things like this. So this is going to matter later. Very, 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 very likely, because, I mean, it's showing it in a panel, of course. And then there, right here. I beat the bad guy. I could have died. The fate of the world was literally in my hands, and you know what the scary part is? The fact that I know he's right. So cool. I like that a lot. We are alike. Because when everyone tells you you're brilliant, but it seems like no one really sees you, what's the point? Isn't that what they were doing in that whole last RiRi series? As they were telling her that? Man, what's the point? See, Ewing is making her into an actual person that has feelings. Isn't that good? That we don't have to have that sociopathic murderer as RiRi anymore. This is good. It's creating her, it's giving her flaws, fears. I mean, think about that. We've already seen a fear right here. They're humanizing this character. It's so cool. They're turning her into a hero. Oh, that's actually neat. And then this tender page, you know, of course, it's her dad, her and her best friend. Again, showing her best friend there. Hint, hint. Good stuff. Now this scene again was 5 pages or more. It was like maybe it was 6, and it could have been 4. It could have been 4 maybe. I think it could have been. Now, again, there's a lot that happens here. I don't know. Maybe 5. A lot of these panels could go and could be consolidated. And again, I'll talk about panel consolidation a little bit, well, specifically in that very first episode, our very first issue of 1977 Star Wars, the adaptation of A New Hope directly after the movie came out. There's some consolidation in the panels that's really cool, right? So I'll use some examples from there to kind of show you some cool consolidation where multiple scenes in the movie actually take place in the same panel, which is legit. It's a space saver for sure. So this moves on. It's this conversation between her and a childhood friend of hers. She's like, how'd you get my number? And she's like getting upset at him, you know, again, showing her flaws. She's got a temper and she's not really great with people all the time, is what this comic kind of shows, you know. So again, moving forward from there, they're talking about Star Wars at this. I mean, Star Trek at this point. And she's like, "I'm a cosplayer." Totally cool. And so it goes on here, and they talk forever. And these panels, I want you to pay attention to this. Of course, they're longer. It seems like she wants time to go by slower here, and that she really wants people to read her words there, right? To read those words. And it's not really these that are necessarily important, because they're just talking. But right here, it shows them connecting. The art's cool here. That's pretty neat, showing that. I actually liked that. I thought that was cool. It's young adultish, right? But that's, again, part of the audience that they're going for here. This is the kicker. This is the one. He asks her at the very end right there. He says, "RiRi, why did you become Ironheart?" And he's like, "Sorry, maybe that was a personal question, but why'd you do it, RiRi?" And at first she was like, "Well, I was at school and I built the suit." And he's like, "No, that's how you did it, but why did you do it?" Again, right here, if you watch some of my previous writing videos, this is setting it up for her to have her driving force for her character. Why did she become Ironheart? This is setting up her history, her past. Again, we already know why she did. She has an origin story, right? Because of the death of Natalie, her best friend, because of the death of her father. So that's the driving force, and she's about to tell him, but she's going to do it in a roundabout way. It's powerful. It's a powerful writing technique to do this. He says, "You know, we've lost so many people," and she said, "Trust me, I know." And he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, that's not what I meant." And he's like, "RiRi, you could die." And there she says it. She says, "My stepdad, it's his thing. He used to say all the time, 'Those who move with courage make the path for those who live in fear.'" He said it constantly. He said his mother taught him that, and I was tired of being afraid. I wanted to fly. Okay, so cool. Because again, it really just goes right back to why she used that poem. I think it does, at least. I think it does. And again, that's a powerful literary device. Use that, and you'll hook some readers. You'll hook some readers. You will. Beautiful. So they end up going. I'm not going to show you what happens at the very end. You're going to have to figure that out for yourself if you want to read it, of course. This was good. This was a good book. Again, I really hope that Ewing keeps writing well. I would hate to see this series do badly. I have a very positive feeling about this book specifically. We'll see how the series turns out. I want to think positive about it. Anyway, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. Thanks for participating, talking in the comments. I really appreciate everything that everyone has to say. I'll respond to as many of them as possible. I'm very busy, unfortunately. Well, I guess it is fortunate. Hey, I enjoy talking with y'all. I will see y'all tomorrow. You are the gateway into comics. Have a great day.